but there's only a few that really recognise. The majority of people are lost in this belief that they are the person, the separate entity, the individual. But as they point out, it's non-dual, not two. Duality implies there is other than one. And though as we sit near it appears to be the many, but as we say, appears, and that is the key to it, because they tell you that also, phenomenal manifestation. And the definition of phenomena is that which appears to be. It's seemingly so. So we are seemingly these separate entities, these individuals, these persons who suffer, are unhappy, angry, fearful, jealous, envy, all the different patterns, shapes and forms we take on, concepts and ideas, and believe in it. And life is not exactly wonderful to most of us. And yet, look around you and see what they call nature. And do we really understand what that term nature means? I say nature is this and that, but it means natural. What is natural? And looking around you see that all these things we take to be separate and apart are all the natural one essence. Patterning, shaping, forming, appearing, expressing, as everything. The breathing is natural. The feeling, the tasting, the touching, the smelling, the reasoning, all naturally happening, occurring. The earth rolling around the sun, seasons coming and going, tides coming in and out, natural. Though if you have a tsunami or a volcano explodes, or there's a drought, or some big seeming disaster comes about, we say that's unnatural. But it's still only nature expressing. And we've taken on these shapes and forms, these body, minds, and taken that to be what we are because our parents told you. And then you learn at schools, and schools keep reinforcing it. We pick up words and ideas and images. And so we've got this conceptual image of what we believe ourselves to be. What are concepts? Thoughts, ideas, images, words. And you see, we've learned all these words, got all these concepts, and they're the things we've taken to be real, the concepts. And they tell you that the great perfection is non-conceptual awareness. Awareness without any of these concepts. Anybody who is unaware right now, no, you know, I am aware. But you think that I am this person. I am this separate entity. And I am aware. We think this person is aware. They call it in Hinduism Sat Chit Ananda, Nama Rupa. Sat is existence, Chit is consciousness, Ananda is bliss or loving to be, and the Nama Rupa, the body mind, is Maya. This pattern which is expressing through is Maya, meaning illusion. It's an illusory pattern. And we think we are awareness in this body. But the awareness is what the body is. Just like you put a cloak or a coat or a thing on itself, which is the body, which houses that awareness. So you don't have to become aware. There is nobody who is unaware right in this moment. But recognise that awareness is there first. And there's nothing you can postulate or think of that could be outside of that awareness. Awareness is the space, it's the content of space, it's the being and the knowing and expressing of everything as everything. And you can't say what awareness is. But all you can know for certain is that you're not unaware. So you don't, though we're calling it awareness, you can't say what it is, you can't give it any shape or any form or any beginning or any end. Yet it is that which all these pattern shapes and forms appear in and express because of that beingness or awareness. And that's what they tell you, that you are that. I am that. That's the great mantra, or the great mantra. I am that. How many of us recognise and doubt that? I am that. But because we picked up words and learnt words, and your parents told you little Billy, or little Jane, or Harry, or Tom, or whatever your name might be, we've taken on the thing, I am Bob, or Harry, or Jane. This conceptual image. Instead of saying, I am absolute, I am the totality. I am the one life, the one essence that's patterning, shaping and forming this manifestation. This manifestation, this world, this cosmos, is because of that sense of presence, that I amness, the life essence. Everything is that. I am that I am. That's what, I think it was Moses or somebody who, on the mountain looking after the Jewish people, and they had these Jewish people and they were playing up a bit. So he said, we've got to keep them some sense of order because they'll be fighting amongst themselves and all the rest of it. So he said, what can I do? So it came to me there and then. These commandments, which are, and he formed tablets, written them on the tablets. Now he says to himself, I've got to take these down to the people and inform them about all these tablets and these commandments. But they're going to want to know where they came from. Who shall I say sent them? And the voice came to him, tell them I am sent them. And that hit Moses right away. And he realised, well, he says, I am that I am. Realised his true nature. And that's been not only in the Jewish people, Hindus, the Taoists, Buddhists, And everyone else, those that have understood, have come to that conclusion. But what have we done? We like to have a bet each way. We want to be that at one stage, and then we want to be this body in the other way. And so we think, they tell us if this I am does this and that and meditates and practices and looks into this, it will become realised. You'll get it by looking into it, investigating and meditating, and you'll realise. A lot of people try that, and not many people, if any, ever get there through that. Sometimes it opens up a bit more and they see through the I amness. But when look into it, there have been people, so-called people, pattern, shape and form, down through the ages that have recognised it. And one or two, or one person in the village might recognise it, and not everybody in the village wants to hear it. They're wrapped in this conceptual image. They think, I can become, I can do this and that, and I am the be-end and all and end all, and haven't taken any notice, gone on their merry ways. But there have been some that have thought, just like you people here today, I reckon there's more to it than what that is. They'll look into it further, and they look further into it and start investigating their true selves and see through it. And this means of communication we have today, where one person in the village might hear it and pass it on to another, and there might be two or somebody, but not many, would hear it. And so it would be carried on and passed on. And a few, and the ones that passed it on, instead of getting the message from them, what did they do? They set them up as saints, saviours, sages, seers, and even gods. And they go to this one, they'll give it to me. They'll tell me all about it and give it to me. And then trying to become, they get lost in the conceptual image. And these others that have thought they've known it and found that a way to pass it, seeming pass it on to another, was give them a set of rules, a set of conditions, a set of prayers, meditates, and all sorts of practices. Make them work to get it or become what they really are. And it doesn't happen. But those that look into a little bit further and start to investigate and recognise what's going on with them, within them, get the taste of it. And are able to pass it on. Others will recognise it. And with this way of communication these days, there's quite a lot more that'll get the glimpse of it. And not all of them will follow it either. And it's not up to them. Because when you realise the person is just a conceptual image we have about ourselves, has no reality of itself, just a conceptual image. And the Nisargadatta tells you, nothing can trouble you except in your own imagination. And that's what this imaging is, imagining. imagining this, that, and everything else. Imagined if I do this, this will happen and that will happen. And that causes all our problems. We imagine that we are the separate entity. And being separate means you're isolated, you are alone, you're insecure and vulnerable. And that's where we're trying to become whole from this sense of vulnerability and insecurity. And it doesn't happen. Why doesn't it happen? Because we lost sight of what we actually are. You are the absolute. You are the totality already. And you can try to become something which you already are. It's not going to happen. Because we put concepts on it and think it'll be this, it'll be that, it'll be the next book we read, the next meeting we go to, or the next meditation I do. But they tell you, start from the fact that you are already that. Go back to that Moses realised on the mountain, I am that I am. What's I am? It's that sense of presence which you're absolutely certain of. There's nobody there who is unaware of their beingness or their awareness of that being right now. You're not unaware, so you must be aware. And you are being. You're not being. You're not being. You are that beingness. So you're already that. Being, knowing, loving to be. That's how they express the Satchitananda. Being is not wasing. It's not what will be. Call yourself human beings. Call God the Supreme Being. Put labels on it. Take away both those labels, the words. Human. Take away the label Supreme. Sitting there right now, negate your beingness if you can. Tell me you are not. Then you can tell me, sure. But ask yourself when you're telling me, I'm not. How am I unable to say that? What is it that gives me that which is enabling it to be said? There is life here. There is beingness here. There is not wasing, not what will be. There is intelligence here. It's another way of putting it. There's a knowing. Being, knowing and loving to be is the way they express it. You are being, you are knowing, and you don't want to be dead. So you love to be already. And it's happening. But what happens? We go back into the conceptualizing and obscure it with concepts. I am this person. I am Bob, the good fellow. Or I did this the other day and it wasn't too good. And I'm suffering, I'm fearful, I'm anxious about it, or I'm unhappy. Or this happened to me, or they're going to take it away, or I can get sick. All these things can affect, these concepts can affect this beingness. They tell me in Buddhism, they call it the great perfection. The Satchitananda, the One, is non-conceptual awareness. Not negating that awareness, because they say awareness of being is bliss. It's that awareness of being is the blissfulness. Conceptual, non-conceptual awareness. Awareness without putting any other label on that I'm fearful or I'm anxious or I am this person, I'm a human being, or I'm unhappy. All the concepts imagined concepts that I put upon myself, and they seemingly real because they fixated on, kept there, not allowed to be like what livingness is. Livingness is transient, it's constantly changing. It's spontaneous, it's not no time, beginning or end. It's constantly transient. But we fixate on it and keep it there. And the keeping it there, we break ourselves down from the absolute into this separate entity, this individual, this person. This me. Why are you unhappy? As Wei Wu says. Because everything you say and everything you think and everything you do is for yourself. For this separate entity. This individual. You don't want it to be unhappy. You want it to acquire more, to accumulate more, to add to get this and attach to this and fixate on this that'll make me more secure and more whole and more complete. Everything you say, think and do is for yourself. It's for this conceptual image. And it says there isn't one. So realise that and recognise that, isn't it? See the futility of it? Trying to be something is not, that doesn't even exist. What you need to do, stay with the beingness. Stay with the awareness, the knowing that you are. Try and negate your beingness. Try and negate your awareness. You can't negate those things. And into those things, can there be anything that appears, happens, or seemingly occurs outside of that? Why, because all this manifestation is contained in that cognising emptiness, the space-like awareness. You see these things appearing to us right now, you, me, the cat, the carpet, the chairs, the trees, the flowers, are all appearing in that space. All concepts appearing in space. Now, does space have any beginning? Can you find a centre to it? You can't find a centre to it. So you can't say it begins. Does it have any boundaries? We think this room is encompassing space, but the space is seeing and suffusing through the room. Just the same as it's suffusing these bodies. Put this body under a microscope and see how solid that is. And the space, like awareness, is suffusing that. And you realise there's nothing you can postulate or think of can be outside of space. So there is no thing that is not the content of space. Space being no things, and all these things being the content, can something come from no thing? Well, it can't. Whether you like it or not, you are no thing. Meaning, no pattern, no shape, no form. But what you are is the absolute reality that's enabling all these pattern shapes and forms, every so-called thing in this manifestation to express. You are that which pattern shapes and forms and expresses as all of it. And even no thing, if it's seemingly no thing, that's it also. Because it's not two. There's no separation to it whatsoever. It's all one without a second. And that's what we need to see and recognise. I am that. I see that and recognise that I am that, and that is all there is. Do I need to become anything? What must need to happen for that? Well, all that needs to happen is to recognise it. Recognise and see whether it's true or not. Am I this body? Well, I say my body. I say my house, my car, my coat. I know I'm not the house. I know I'm not the car, and I'm not the coat. Well, by the same token, maybe I'm not the body either. Well, I'll investigate and have a look and see whether I'm the body. What's this body made up of? And I realise this body made up of elements. Air. I'm breathing air. Without the air, the body wouldn't be alive. Water. Take the water out of it, the body die of thirst. Take the fire, the body temperature, it's only get hypothermia, die of cold. The food I'm eating, the space I'm in. All things are in this pattern I call the body. It's made up of all these elements. And the physicists will tell you that the elements can be broken down into subatomic particles. Like air made up of hydrogen and oxygen. Or water, isn't it, made up of that? Yes. Air is oxygen, and I don't know what it is. I'm not a physicist, they'll tell you.
Nitrogen.
That it's all made up of elements. And all these elements can be broken down into subatomic particles, into pure energy. So the elements and this body and everything in it is nothing but a vibrating pattern of energy. And it vibrates into this seemingly solid pattern, shape and form, which has the capacity, with the brains and the organs and the things in it, to express these energies through it as thoughts, feelings and emotion and activities, and the capacity of reasoning. Amazing intelligence, if you're using it. Just the same as you've got these lights in this room. Each of the lights has got a globe in it. And the globes have different wattage in it, different power. Now if you put the full charge of that, what do they call it?
Electricity. Electricity.
Yeah, but what are the thing? What's the thing that runs it?
Voltage, current, voltage.
Yes. Yeah. If the current wasn't going through it, what could it do? None of those things could last without that life energy, or that current, that flowing through them. Well, the same with this body. This life is expressing through all these different patterns, and some of you are a lot smarter than others. Can do more, see more, act more, and have different talents than what others. But isn't it the same life that's expressing through all of them? And so it doesn't matter, really, what the body is that expresses through it or what light's going through it, as long as you're getting enough light to see your way and do it. The same as you get enough intelligence to function this body. But it is the energy or the life that is the important thing. And when Christ told us, I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life, pointing out that he was recognising his true nature. People thought he was talking about himself. He wasn't. He was talking about that which is expressive. And the Sermon on the Mount says, take no thought for your life. What you shall eat, what you shall wear, what you shall drink. He says, the Father knoweth you have need of these things. The Father is not Big Daddy up in the sky, it's that life. Life energy knows what this pattern, shape and form needs to express her. And it's the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. The ways and means of being provided with these things comes up. The talents and ideas and concepts you get enable you to do things. Doesn't it come up? You might think you think them, but they express as thoughts and words. But what's your next thought going to be? You can't tell me. Yet a thought will come up. And you claim, I think this thought. I am the thinker of this thought. So you formed a subject, a thinker that's thinking this thought. And the thought that's being thought is the object. So now it's been divided by this believed in thinking into subject-object, dualistic. But can the thought I think? Can the thinker really think? Well, you told me you don't know what your next thought is going to be. So you realise the thought I think can't think. The thought comes up and you claim I think. So there's thinking which contains both the subject, the thinker, and the thought. But the actuality of it all is the thinking. Now have a look at the other sensory factors that are going on. The hearing, the tasting, the touching, the smelling, the seeing, hearing. All these ing is subject-object, duality. Because if we divide it all into I see, I think, I hear, but it is the actual seeing, which is spontaneously going on right now, isn't it? Anyone who is not seeing right now, anyone who is not hearing, anyone who is not experiencing, tasting, touching, smelling, feeling, it's all happening. And as soon as you put I see, I taste, I feel, you put the stopper on it. Because you're related to this conceptual image. It's seemingly divided, separated it. What is inseparable and indivisible? And that sense of separation leaves you isolated, alone and vulnerable. Insecurity, vulnerability. Instead of being an absolute, you're now that insecure, vulnerable, separate person. Look at it and investigate it and you'll see you've never ever been that. It's only when the capacity of reasoning develops in you and you learn words, instead of investigating the words there and then, we took the words to be real. And they tell you in the scriptures the false cannot stand up to investigation. That's all that was necessary. And that's all that's necessary right now. A little bit of investigating. Am I this person? What's person? A word, a concept. Where does that word concept come from? Is it a thing? No. Like every other word, thought, idea, it's been picked up along the way. I didn't have any words when I came into existence. I was the life itself then, and I didn't learn any words till about the age of 2.5, when my parents taught words because they'd picked up words. And I look at the word and see the word's not real. And yet, me, Bob the Australian, the good fella, having a bad trot of doing this, is all made up of words. That's not the real. It's not the truth. And they're telling me, know the truth, and the truth will set you free. I'm not going to be free in all these beliefs and all these words. There's no freedom, peace and joy in that. You might have had taste of it throughout your life, and that's all you'll ever get, is taste of it, because you fall back into the trap again and again, because 99% of the world is coming from that point of view. There's only a few that have seen through it, and if you're fortunate enough to come across one, you might resonate, but then again, something may wake up or stir within you. And that's something that stirs, comes to you as a thought or feeling. This is not good enough. There's got to be more to it than this. And realising and recognise that, and said, yeah, I'm going to step out of this, what they're telling me, all the bullshit that I'm telling me. I'm a sinner, I'm fearful, I'm unhappy, I've got to do this, I've got all this karma and all this things that have happened to me. They put all these concepts and ideas onto it. Tell me I've got to become free of all these things before I see. Well, what does that set you out to do? Doesn't it make you look a little bit further and saying several Hail Marys or praying to this one or that one and think they're going to fix you? If the truth is here, it's now, it's within me, why the hell can't I find it? Or maybe I've been looking in the wrong direction. Always in the mind, trying to work it out in the mind. And what's this mind? And when you look at it and investigate, there's no such thing as mind. Mind's just another label, a thought. Show me your mind. Show me something substantial that you can say is mind. There's thinking going on, feeling, tasting, touching, smelling. We say, that is mine. But can a thought or a feeling breathe, think, do anything at all? What is this mind without a thought? What is wrong with right now if I don't think about it? Get the glimpse of that and you'll see. Without the thought, the breathing is still happening, the heart's still beating, hair and fingernails are growing, food's being digested. There is life that doesn't need the mind. And you are, they tell you, you are the way, you are the truth, you are that life. Take that life out of the body, you got a corpse. There's the corpse there, that's the same as you got right now. But what's disappeared out of it? The life. And without that life, you can't hear, you can't see, you can't be aware, you can't taste, touch or smell, breathe or beat the heart. That activity or life is what you are. And the body is useless without it. So what are you? You must recognise that I'm breathing, heart beating, I'm seeing, hearing, I'm unable to think. Words come up, say these words, feel these feelings, taste these, happening through this pattern. There is that awareness or knowingness or intelligence in it that's functioning it. The body's no use at all without that. And what is that life? Can I grasp it? It's got no shape or form, but it's that thing which I haven't been able to negate. That pure being, the pure knowing, the pure loving to be. I haven't been able to negate it. But when the life itself goes away, that negates everything. So recognise the truth and be what you already are. Know the truth. They tell you clearly, and the truth will set you free. And the truth, I am that truth. I am not this person. I am not Bob, the body mind. I am the Absolute. Know that for certain, and you'll be free of it. So that's what we point out too, and ask you to look along those lines and see for yourself. Nobody's ever going to give it to you, because there is nobody apart from yourself. It's the same life in every pattern, shape and form that's functioning, patterning, shaping and forming. So it need to be attuned with what you actually are. Recognise. Know the truth. See for yourself. So away you go. Get into it.
We have a couple of good morning messages from our online community, and that's it. There's no questions today and no comments just yet. So the mic goes up to you, and we invite everyone to share, ask questions, tell us what works for you or what you would like us to elaborate a little bit deeper. And don't be shy. Sometimes the question you ask is a question of hundreds of people who don't have that wonderful chance to ask it. So think of the life speaking through you. It's nothing really personal. Question, comment, anything.
Thanks, Bob. I think what resonated with me today a lot was the ing, and you said ing, and it made a lot of sense to me. There's no thought, but there's thinking, and like just that existence, existing, that kind of being.
ING.
Yeah, the ing just kept coming up for me today. Yeah, no matter what you look at, you can't escape that. Like you were saying, you can't negate your being. And it's like, yeah, of course. But yeah, you can only think that you're separate or all of that. But that's all part of the same ing, thinking and all of that. So if you really look at it, it's, yeah, can't really go anywhere. So yeah, that's what I got today. Thanks.
Beautiful.
Take it, it's yours.
Yeah. Who was? Okay.
Yeah, that's really, thank you for highlighting it. That's a really vibrant and very, very important way of collapsing duality back into the singularity. Instead of having that mind-made subject and object, I am the seer, here is the seen, I am the thinker, here is the thought. That's beautiful and necessary for communication, but that's not the actuality. That's not the direct first-hand experience, because first-hand experience is experiencing. It is the seeing, and in that field of seeing, the duality of subject-object comes and goes together. There can't be a subject without the object. So the beauty of collapsing the duality of the two into one functioning, one living, experiencing, being, seeing, just the oneness of the process of the lifing. That is so beautiful, because in a moment-to-moment life, you can actually see how the narrative comes and translates singular experiencing into the dualities. And once you see through it, that's kind of cute. That's harmless. It becomes completely harmless, because you can never ever believe that, oh, but I'm the thinker, I shouldn't be thinking that thought. You know, there's no thinker. The thinking just happens, and it's just like, you know, the sky is not thinking, I shouldn't be storming. It's just, you know, everything is just naturally happening, and there's such freedom. Thank you for bringing it up. Anyone else would like to bring something of value or ask a question? Or Bob had this beautiful, long, well-delivered, passionate way of, you know, articulating things loud. Let's make the most of it.
Yeah, I will.
Please.
Thanks, Dean. Cheers. We spoke of this before. I love what you say, Bob, but what I struggle with, and have for 15 to 17 years, and will until the day I die.
Wow.
You're beaten before you start.
Oh, yeah. Why not? Is there is a me. There's a me. What do I do with that me?
Well, show me to me. Show me your me.
There's the pattern. There's the pattern me.
Well, show me the pattern.
It's a constant. It's a constant. The pattern happens whenever the pattern happens. The pattern comes up whenever the pattern wants to come up. There's a me.
Is it there all the time? When it comes up, you say when it comes up, that means it must be in abeyance of time.
Deep. But then I have to, Bob, I have to look at the me. I can't deny it. I have to look at it. I have to break it down.
Well, you can't find it. You say it's a pattern, you can't show me what's a pattern like? Is it square, round, high, low? A pattern, you say. Just a conceptual image you have in your head.
No, it's not a conceptual. It's not conceptual, it's factual.
Is it emotional, maybe?
Maybe. It's factual. I can't deny it. I cannot deny it. It's there.
Where?
But what can't you deny?
Oh, stop picking on me.
You can't deny emotions. That's true.
Correct. Okay, so we can't deny emotion. We have to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't look at it and go, oh, well, that doesn't matter. There's no me. It's not happening. There is emotion.
Yeah. You can look at emotions without calling it me.
Yeah, okay. Okay, that dropped.
Yeah.
That dropped because I think I mentioned to you earlier, I've got a girlfriend who's struggling with this a little bit. She struggles with a lot of anger.
Yeah.
And she asked me yesterday, she said, how does non-duality work with her anger? And I'm like, effed if I know. I can't explain it, but you just did. It just dropped then. That was good.
Question, are you the anger, are you the emotion, or are you that which is aware?
Yeah.
of
Does
that?
she own the anger?
But we've got to look at it, don't we? You can't just
You
brush.
can look at it, but what's looking at it?
Somebody or something has to look at it.
Somebody has to look at it?
Somebody or something.
Okay.
You know, I can't name that. Something has. You're gorgeous. Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
So
I
what-
just couldn't explain it. I can't articulate it. I can only use basic words.
Right, no, just it's an investigation. I think.
Correct.
Just, so if you look, can you actually find whatever's looking? Sorry, Denny. Can you find it? So take a look. So look, and when you look, It's good you can't find it. That's fine. That's kind of the correct answer. Okay? So when you look, what comes up is nothing. Bingo.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
I
So
hear
take a
you.
look and see if you can find what's noticing the emotion.
Okay, yeah, I see your point. That, you know, don't. Well done. You're doing a great job, Dean. I'm very impressed. You might get hired. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. It does kind of drops, but it only drops every time you investigate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You walk out and it all comes blah, 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 again. You investigate, it drops
Yeah,
again.
that's the whole point.
Yeah.
False doesn't stand up to investigation.
Yeah.
That's the only reason to investigate is you see through the bullshit and you go, oops, huh, I did it again. Why would I do such a thing? I don't know. Maybe it's a habit. You know,
Yeah.
maybe you didn't do it. Maybe it's just seemingly happening and it never, well, maybe it didn't, but.
So there's no blame.
Yeah, no blame.
Then the
You
blame
never fucking did a
goes.
thing.
Yeah.
What is the you that can do anything? Take a look. Again, and all of it's an opportunity to investigate. So if you just investigate and you look and you do it again, and then you have to do it again. It's the same fucking thing, but every time you look, it's like it becomes an opportunity. You know, I was talking to my friend Zulma yesterday as we were walking, and we were saying, you know, there was a quote that I really liked from this one guy, and he said, the problem is not that people or situations push your buttons. That's not the problem. The problem is you have so many fucking buttons, right?
Yeah. I've heard that
And
before.
I love that quote. But so then we have a button, right? So there's a button. Something's pissing me off. It's obviously you don't have the same button that I'd have or whatever. Otherwise, everybody would have this. But anyway, it's an opportunity. So when the button gets pushed, you get pissed off, and you can see, oh look, it drops away with the investigation, right? That same button just won't, like in my experience, this is what I've just looking past and like old stories or whatever, but from what I've observed, every time I investigate and I look through and I see through the bullshit, it falls away a bit. And then it just doesn't come back in the same amount of oomph. It just doesn't. And until after a while, it just doesn't come back at all. I love to do it with traffic. You know, stuff like that. It's a really good thing to play with. Something that would normally piss you off, you know, or upset you. And you see that it just falls away. Then that same fucking thing is an opportunity. You could see it as an opportunity to investigate instead of, now I got to do it again. Yeah. You look again. And then after a little while, maybe, I don't know, that's an idea of time. I mean, maybe it doesn't happen. And again, you're not doing it. You never did shit. Because who does anything? You know, there's nobody does anything. But when it's seen through.
I just think that, I hear what you're saying, you're right. I just think, thanks Dean, I just think it gets, all right. Sorry, it's taking over there. It just gets a little bit complicated when you say there's nobody there to do it. That sort of, you forget that you need to investigate though.
Yeah.
So something or someone is doing an investigation.
Yes, that's the big question, isn't it? But who's doing the investigation? Like, isn't it whatever's observing the me and identifying it with anger or whatever? Isn't that the primary thing that's doing this investigation? That's seeing all the appearances. Isn't that the awareness itself? And then you identify these feelings or the experiences that you're going through with the awareness and call it, that's me, and that becomes, you know, the image that's going to do this or that or has done this or that. But really it's just that awareness that does the investigations that all this stuff appears in. And you know, it's whether you're going to identify with these images or you're just going to realise that what you are is the investigator, the witness itself.
Or the witnessing. So you know, what Bob talks about is unfixated awareness. So that's what you are, right? And then from when Bob says you started to get the word when you were 2 years old, and they said, you're Joe, you're a good girl, you're a bad girl, you're naughty, you know, you're this, you're that, you're blah, blah, blah. And then this went on for years and years and years and years, you know, and then Bob comes along and he says, there is no you, right? And so that me or that Joe or that, you know, fixation with the fact that you're separate is a long ingrained pattern. And with that comes dis-ease. So, you know, every opportunity, like Julia said, to watch is just that, an opportunity to watch. And as Cliff said, what are you watching from? You're not watching from the memory, are you? The memory can't watch. And where does the me live? In the memory. You know, it's only a memory of you. It's an image you have about yourself. So can an image do anything? No.
No.
Okay, so it's a story about Joe, right? What's watching the story about Joe?
Don't know.
No thing. Yeah, that's what you are. That's all I've got.
I agree. It's investigation. I think it's investigation. And I think what Kat said before too is being curious.
Yes.
So again, for myself, I'm speaking for myself, but also for my girlfriend yesterday. She's got absolute rage, and she's shocked at it, and I didn't know how to help her, you know. But now I realise what you're saying is she's curious because she's questioning it. That's a good place to start.
She's questioning, because
That's a good place to
sometimes
start.
I think when you have rage, there's no questioning. You've decided. There's some, like, you know.
You've got a fixed idea
Yeah.
of some person, place or
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
So
But
that's
she's got
what's
to work that
creating
out. I can't tell her what it is.
And that's important to get to the base of the conflict.
Yes.
You know, and all conflict arises between me and the other person, place or thing when you have a fixed idea.
An expectation.
Well, any fixed idea.
Yeah,
That's what it's and this illusory me is always going to be there. You know, you're going to be tra-la-la-la-la-ing around as Joe, and I'm tra-la-la-ing around as Jane. But in reality, I'm no thing. That's the truth. But old habits die hard. You know,
absolutely.
I think it's good to get to the absolute bottom of what creates the disease. And it's always having a fixed idea about any person, place or thing that creates the conflict or the disease. And in reality, there's only one.
And you are there.
Oh, absolutely.
Before my dad died, I remember noticing something just about him, how much as I was loving him. You know, he was sweet and funny and cheerful and easygoing and happy-go-lucky and gentle and just a nice guy, funny, good friend. And then it occurred to me, like all these words that I just said, they're descriptions, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah. And are you a description? You know? Yeah, so you see a pattern.
Yeah.
But you know, the patterns, and you think it's a constant, but it's not there when you're in deep sleep, is it?
No.
You know?
It's not.
And so, yeah, it is just a willingness to
It's beautiful.
look
It is.
as though you never knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. That was amazing. That was lovely. And I would also like to highlight what you said, Joe, about, you know, how real the emotion feels when it comes as rage. That is just, we naturally associated, okay, this is me. I'm pissed off. And now you telling me there's no me. That, you know, of course there is. I'm pissed off. That is, and to actually say at this point that there is no me and check if there is really no me, it's close to impossible. Very often it has to just ease off to see in the hindsight, because the energy, you know, that's sort of a volcano erupting, that rage is completely hijacked the whole free attention. There is no free attention to witness it very often. And to actually say at this moment, oh, there is no you, it sounds like just a blunt denial, like nonsense.
Exactly. This is what I'm saying.
I know.
I cannot deny it. Not at that. I don't need that. Not at that time. No, I'm fine.
Yes, I totally heard you when you were saying it, because it is, you know, we are susceptible, and depending also on the personalities, on the, you know, for some people it will be rage, for some other people it will be shame or guilt or fear. There are different predominant patterns.
Yeah.
And yes?
I was just, okay. If you like.
Taking a shower today.
Mm.
Hello.
Yeah, with my friend yesterday, when she was explaining the rage to me for her, there was no way I could look at her and say there is no you. I can't do that. She's too new to all this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? No, it's not. That was beyond her. It's like, hold on. First, I've got to do little bits. Let's first investigate the rage, like the trigger, the expectation, and you know, let's go really gently.
Yeah.
You know, and just forget about it. There's no you. No, it's not going to work.
You're right, and that's compassion, and that's wisdom, and that's human heart, and that's beautiful. But it's even better way, rather than investigating the trigger, what causes it, and then she'll go into a story and she will dysregulate even more, because that story will reinforce that dysregulation. Rather than investigating the trigger and the expectation, the good way to actually enter the situation and do the first step is come back to the present experience. You know, how do you feel? Is your heart pouncing right now? Are you breathing from the top of your lungs like, you know, is that happening? Tell me about that, because the story, what caused, oh, this is my husband, or this is my wife, or this is, you know, that story is actually trading the present experiencing for the thought about it. It's actually really much more kind of compassionate and gentle to forget the story just for a moment. You may need to revisit the story and learn from it, or whatever you move to do. But just for a moment, come back to what is happening presently in the seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling, in the actual sensations in a present moment. Because story is always in time. Oh, he did it to me yesterday, or she did it to me 5 minutes ago, or she did even a millisecond ago. That's already a story in time. While what's happening, you know, rage. And if you're curious, like you highlighted rightfully so, you know, the curiosity about what is actually boiling up on the energetic level in the body, that pouncing, vibrating, you know, being curious about that. Not only it brings that free, non-judgmental attention, that space-like awareness into the current happening, but it is a process of healing. It also makes that energy really vibrate and just give itself a time to, you know, like a storm in a glass of water. You shake it a lot and then you stop it. See how short moment and it's still. That's what happens when you stop shaking it by revisiting a story, but you actually bring the attention to the center of the storm. That is a wonderful little trick, which is basically it's just a basic mindfulness, really, just bringing back out of the head to the experiencing. And then you may even, as a byproduct, instead of hating and rejecting and being angry about your anger, being rageful about your rage, you may find a genuine fascination in the way life is running through that system and just making it boil and steam. Is fascinating, and seeing it in that manner, you are, yes, like Cliff was saying, you are the seeing, you are the consciousness, the cognizing, emptiness, seeing. You're not the steaming anger, you're not your pouncing heart. Those are objects in the awareness. So you are already kind of disassociated to the point of seeing that happening in the body in the impersonal way. And now as it regulates back again, now this is the way where you may ask questions. Oh, when you were watching that thunderstorms there, that, you know, waving, and where were you watching from? Who were you as the witnessing presence? Were you the waves on the ocean, or were you the wholeness, the ocean? And that lands naturally. That, see, the me is not the anger. It feels initially that there is nothing else, only the anger, so that must be who I am, because obviously I'm present. Like Bob was saying, I am that I am, I exist. And now anything, everything is just that rage, so I'm that. And that's not untrue. That's not untrue, because if you are the totality, in this moment, the totality is an anger. You are the anger. You are the rage. But when the story refuels it. But when you really brings out the curiosity, you're not only the anger, you are curiosity as well. So now, see, the identity expands a little bit. A moment ago I was the anger. Now I'm the anger in a space around the anger, and curiosity about the anger, and investigating. I'm so many things now. I'm much more loose. A moment ago I was just going through here, just that tight. Now I'm just more of a totality. And when the regulation comes back again, when those dysregulated crazy feelings, that energy that in a glass of water will even up, now who am I? See who is looking. See if I can see who is looking. Like Julia was pointing out at investigation. You know, you're investigating, can I find anyone? Oh, I don't even have to find anyone. Oh, there's just nothing there. You want to say something?
You said before, you know, that for the last 15 years you've been a man, and for the next 15, which is you've got that attitude.
Yeah.
You'll never get out of it. You've got to be open.
Yeah, she's open. But good point.
Sorry, I couldn't hear
Good
what Bob
point.
said then, because everyone was talking on top of me.
Because she said that, oh, for the last 15 years I was
I'm
the
asking
me.
what Bob said.
That's what he said. I'm just saying what he said.
Yeah, I just
He was-
couldn't hear him because Joe was talking and you were talking. I was just trying to hear him.
Yeah,
Sorry.
well, that's how meetings go.
I know. I just wanted to reiterate what he was saying.
That's why I was repeating it for you. Anyway, this is now Nat, who is saying there is only one observer, and that observer is watching from every point in the universe. That's another way to say it. And AB is saying, what will I experience once this body dies? All I know is what I know as and through this vessel, so it worries me that once this body dies, I will never experience anything ever again. Want to comment on that?
Well, she can't remember her birth. How do you think she's going to remember death?
No, he doesn't even want to remember death. He wants to remember what is after death, when the brain is gone.
How can there be an after?
Yeah. And the idea of being worried, what you can't experience when you can't experience, well, that life moves you to worry. I mean, give yourself more of that pleasure. Worry about what you experience when you are in a deep sleep. Worry about when you experienced 1,000 years ago before you were born. Just overload yourself with that nonsense, and it will completely blow away and dissipate, and it will leave you laughing, and you'll be free. The way why I say it is because that question came back from AB probably about 12 times on our group, the same question, and on emails, and I know that it really bothers you. So really the way to actually is put the volume up on it. Make it really, like, exaggerate it, make it ridiculous. Be worried about absolutely every moment before you were born. That will really free you from it. And Cliff, you're gonna
I was just going to say, it comes back to what Judith was talking about too.
give her.
Is it where you were experiencing life from, and you know, the habit is, or where I saw it was what Judith was talking about, something that was alive back then, has all these memories, and something that projects on into the future, being this story about me, the body, the experiences, and thinking that's where I'm experiencing life from. So I wasn't around before I was born, I won't be around after the so-called body goes. But this gives you the opportunity of stepping out of the time thing and realising that it's always just now, and you have always been, you always are in the now. What has been before is now, and what is in the future is in the mind just now. And that's where you're observing from, really. That's the only point you can do the investigation of anything from, is from the now. And you are the now, you're not the timeline that you think you are. So it's very crucial.
I was going to say, I was agreeing with that. The me can give this impression of continuity that's been operating over a period of time, but it's just seeing that that's all just memory, thought-based, which isn't existing, can't exist in the space that is now, which is what Cliff is saying. So sometimes it can fall you into that. It's like, I've been this person all this time, but it's just seeing that as a whole time-based illusion, you know what I mean? Like, it's all these memories, but it's just, I don't know, I'm trying to say what Cliff is saying. It's like continuity, and it's like, oh, I've been this person all this time, but it's, the past can't be right now, can it? So the me can't exist now. Like, it needs time to exist. It needs future, and it can only, because it's all memories, it's like, oh, I was doing this, but that's all an illusion that's not existing and can't be, sort of thing. Yeah, but it's like, and the investigation can appear, but it's just investigation appearing. There's no one there doing the investigation. It's just like, there's an investigation appearing, there's looking happening, but there's no one there doing the actual person doing the looking. It's just appearing out of the nothing as that. There's no one there doing it, sort of thing. And but yeah, the trigger, the hard, sometimes it comes up, and there's an unconsciousness that gets caught in that story again, and it's like seeing that, and it's like, that's not what I am, because where I'm seeing is not it, sort of thing. Yeah.
It's a remarkable sort of stepping through from the story-based idea, and it's really what sort of needs to happen. It's sort of like Jesus saying, I am the way, the truth and the life. My mum used to just say, well, Jesus had a big ego. but there's more than that, you know. It's like stepping out of that story that you are this time-based creature that's always going to have these views or these struggles or whatever it is, into just realising that it is the now, the livingness is the now. Yeah.
Well said. Yeah.
What introduced me to Bob was this thing that I used to go to all these retreats for like 9 years, called the Sedona method, and I used to do the Sedona method, and in essence I would describe it as pretty much like, well, they were just questions that they would ask you that would lead you to doing exactly what Kat was discussing. When she said, well, you know, you can allow yourself to just feel this and all that, it would just say, can you feel this feeling as much as you already do? Can you feel it? And then maybe can you welcome it? And if you don't want to welcome, you can use the word notice or observe, because some people don't want to welcome. But they could also say, could you let it go? Right? And so I was really passionate about this for a very long time. I did it a lot. But sometimes I would sit with something trying to let go, just trying to feel it and feel it and feel it and feel it more and feel it more for days. Okay, like days. My favorite story, which some of you probably heard, is just the time I lost my digital camera in the ocean. And I was so upset and so pissed off and upset that this had happened, and I'd lost it 2 weeks, and I'm just trying to let it go and feel it and feel it. It was finally 2 days later when somebody said to me, you know, because I was like noticing the story, that I was like really into it. juicy, you know. And I mentioned that to a friend. She's like, well, can you find the one with the story? You know, it's another kind of way to say, pointing out there's no one here. You know what I mean? She didn't say that, but she said these are just questions, you know. And it's really, I love the inquiry, because it cut through 2 days of just trying my best to just be and feel my fucking rage, to just no. And you know what I mean?
What was the question she asked?
Oh, she said, can you find the one with the story?
Can you find the what?
The one with the story.
The one.
Yeah, can you find the one? Because I was just, me with the story. Who's got a story? Can you find it? And so I just love this investigation. But yes, if you want some other tricks, and I hate to say this because we are giving it, like, it is a method, but this isn't really for, this method it points towards what we are, in that direction. It'll lead you in this way. But if you're beginning, like your friend, okay, and you're still like, you know, you're not ready to hear there's no me, you know, you could start with, right, feel your rage. You know, and maybe it will take a little longer than it did for me to just go, right, who gives a shit? Oh, yeah. You know, that was so much better for me. But I've been doing it for 9 years. You know what I mean? I'm just saying there is that to me was it is a technique, but it'll help. Like, it brought me here.
Yeah, I love the welcoming.
Yeah.
Maureen,
yeah.
you was going to say something.
Yeah.
Maureen. Thanks, Julie.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that's striking about the whole engagement is that it was your name is Joe?
Joe.
Joe, hi.
Hi.
It was very sweet when you said you were feeling into what would work or not work for your friend who was in that position. One of the things that occurred was that there is no you, and then also there is it's the one essence that is appearing as you in rage. I mean, and then all the different things that people are adding or suggesting that, like, the one essence is bringing forth these appearances, which is everything. I mean, there's nothing left out.
That's a good point. I like what
Yeah, the thing about suggestions or methods or strategies is that who knows what the moment will call for, but in that moment things will come forth. The one essence will come forth just as it is.
Do you know, in all honesty, I was very happy that she felt comfortable enough to tell me, because it was, sorry. I guess in hindsight now, what you're saying, I realise that she felt comfortable enough to tell me, because what she was telling me was kind of quite horrific, what she was doing to a certain person because of the... She was actually frothing at the mouth. So, you know, and for her to... So you're right, for me in the moment, I didn't have the words or anything to articulate or guide or methods or... I had nothing. I gave her the space and the freedom to say it. So she doesn't have to feel guilt and shame or... So you're right. Good. So I hadn't thought of that. Thank you. I felt helpless. I felt powerless and helpless to be able to give her any direction. But yeah,
That was the most helpful thing you could do.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Now in hindsight,
Yes.
yeah. Thank you.
Did you want to say something? Or no? I have a couple of comments here. This is from Alvaro. Such a freedom. Everything is happening. And JB, where does me go when there is no me activity? What is left? Good point. And JB also says, lovely way to put it, Jane. I agree, yes. And Yale says, yesterday I had a feeling come up which I really didn't like. It took me a minute and I was able to understand that I was resisting the emotion that it was bringing up. I asked, who am I to resist this emotion? Am I telling all the pervading consciousness that it shouldn't feel a certain way? As soon as I switched the outlook to an impersonal occurrence, within minutes it dissipated and was finished. Only the residual non-sticky memory of it was left, which did not matter at all. Incredible. Beautiful. And JB says, Julia, thank you. And Vivek says, one day before I was, 1 week earlier, 1 day before I was, 1 week earlier I was, I am now. I as being always exists. I, Atma, energy is reflecting, becoming everything. And Nat says, the colors seen are not separate from the seeing of them, nor the sounds heard separate from the hearing, nor the feeling separate from the feeling of it, nor odor separate from smelling, nor flavor separate from the capacity to taste it, nor is any idea separate from the capacity to know it. Beautifully put. Absolutely. Take a smell out of the smelling. There is no smell and no smelling. They're inseparable, interdependent. Primali says, hi Kat, somebody said you can do surfing on the thought. Can you explain? I think Bob is saying surf or breathe the thought out. Let the thought out, ride on the breath. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like that concept of surfing on it.
Yeah. And
Kind of makes it fun, doesn't it?
and Jay,
Wipe out!
Jay answers the question which AB was saying, the question about being in the mind about what's not happening right now, before or after dying. Jay says, each night you become unconscious and trust you will come back in the morning. Where will be a time when we sleep and never wake up? Death. But we have forgotten the time when we first woke up without going to sleep. Birth. Was it really your first time? Maybe, maybe not. And AB says, yeah, who cares? Seriously, I mean, we really, about this moment right now, not about the philosophical concepts of reincarnation, heaven, hell, all the ideas. You want to waste your life in sitting and engaging with the mind and just watch that entertaining capacity here? Well, suit yourself, but there is a potentiality to wake up from that nightmare and live fully. That's the point. So who cares what happened before you die and what happens after? This moment is reality, not that or the other. But AB answers to Jay, thank you, that's really helpful. Oh, there you go, you're on the same wavelength. Alan Watts also says something along these lines which really resonates with me. And that's your path. You know, you resonate with whoever resonates. You want to be a philosopher, that may be your calling. And maybe just this, what we are pointing here, is completely, and it is nothing, is not worse or better to stay in the mind and entertain yourself. It is just the same one life expressing. And it's wonderful that some people just devote their lives to creating religions and philosophies and thinking. Is one essence. It's nothing worse or nothing good or bad. Believe what resonates and all the blessings. And JB says, me is a reference point based on memory and projected forward into so-called future from same calculations based on the same memory. Beautifully said. Yep. And AB says, many thanks for answering my question. Really clear and helpful. I guess this was for Jay. And Giotti says, my question got answered before I could ask it. Thanks. Lovely. Lovely. And we are up to date with the online community, so we have a few more minutes. Dean?
Oh, shit. I don't know. Probably nonsense will just come out.
Please.
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking. I was sitting here with Bob, and I listened to this 100 or more times, listening to the spiel, and today I heard it in a very. It was very. It's like a very sharp way. It was very clear intellectually, right? Like, which is really weird. And I was just observing that. Going, oh yeah, geez, I get it like this way and that way. And then last week, might have heard it, and it was an energetic feeling. And then the week before, it was a bit of this. And other times, I fall asleep. Very often, actually. And it's just, it made no difference, like in which way it was heard or not heard, and so this time it was heard in this particular way. It made no difference. And whatever everyone's saying, this me, there's no me. Like my me is talking to your me about this me, and I'm going to get a better me and a worse me, and we're going to fix this me and improve this me and get rid of this me, and in just in observing, like there's just things happening, energy moving, and there's thoughts, and in thoughts there might be embedded a me. Like the idea of a me, it's just like even a letter or a word or it's a nothing embedded, and they're just constantly changing, and that's why there's no me. It's not like you don't exist. Like that is the existence, is consciousness playing this whole energy, and I don't even know. I don't even know if that's real. It's just this appearance now, appearing in this way. It's indescribable. Someone talked about time. Time can't be. It's unfathomable to come to the timeless, eternal dimension. It can't be spoken. It can't be looked at. It can't be discussed in any way. And I don't know what to say.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yes.
So,
I'll say you should come tomorrow. Like if you're in the U.S. and you are busy and are free, Bob's going to do this on Zoom tomorrow and Tuesday and Thursday night. Go to his website.
Yeah. That is.
Gotta plug it.
Yeah, that is right. Check the website for the Zoom times, and you are most welcome to just tune in and join us. There's no fee or charge for it, and interact with people. Groups are small, so it's just like in this room here. So it's kind of intimate and safe space, and it's lovely.
Can I just say one more quick, very small thing?
Please.
I think whatever investigation comes up, if it takes you to the point of seeing there is no me or no self or no separation, whatever that is, if it comes up organically, then that's good, because what it does is it takes you to the point of no story, no separation, no dialogue. What it takes you to is that there is no separation. There's only one. But whatever way you find to identify the dis-ease within yourself, that's okay, because it can only bring you back to the oneness.
Beautiful.
Yeah, well said.
Beautiful. Yes, and we have another couple of comments from JB says, awesome, and have a wonderful day. So yes, let's have a wonderful day for everyone.
thanks, Bob and Kat.
Thanks, everyone.